I am Claire Pollock and I'm one of 3 daughters here at Ardross Farm. My family have been farming in Fife for generations and they came to this farm in 1968. So we farm altogether about 1,400 acres, so it's a mixture of different things. We've got a tenancy, we contract farm some ground and we take out a mixture of grasslets. My dad did a lot of research into rotation and our farming system, and he really wanted to take it back to the traditional method. He looked at a 5-year rotation that his grandfather used to do, and he thought there is great logic in that. We've got very different land types. The land down here on this farm is very sandy, very good soil, and then we farm right the way up into a much heavier clay, stony soil. And that ground needs break crops, so having that rotation and flexibility in our rotation to allow the fields that need breaks to have breaks and really build up humus in the soil and soil fertility as well. So we try and keep our rotation as wide as possible, so we grow a variety of crops. We grow winter and spring barley, we grow winter wheat, we grow spring and winter oilseed rape, we grow spring beans, we grow green manures and cover crops throughout the winter, and we also grow forage crops for our cattle. We grow a variety of vegetables from pumpkins to potatoes and everything in between. And then we've got a large amount of grass as well. So we started our regenerative agriculture journey primarily just for economic reasons. When we started looking at the business and how we could cut costs and how we could be more efficient, that was how it started. And since then it's grown. So one of the first things we looked at was our cattle. So we were feeding grain to cattle, only in small amounts. We'd kind of got in our head that we should feed grain just to fatten them at the last few stages. When we looked at this, we realised it wasn't doing a huge amount to our cattle and it was quite easy to stop it. So we stopped feeding grain altogether and we're just purely grass-fed, so grass in the summer and silage and forage crops in the winter. So we're now Pasture for Life certified for both our cattle and our sheep, and we feed nothing but grass to our animals. This has been twofold benefit for us. It's been a lot cheaper to feed and keep animals on the farm, which is fantastic. It's improved soil health throughout the farm because livestock are moving throughout the farm. So again, when we were looking at making our farm more efficient and more economical, we looked at how we were establishing crops. At the time, we were ploughing, we were power harrowing before we were sowing, and we looked at lots of different drills and different combinations of how to achieve the same result. We stumbled upon a Claydon drill, which we bought and have been using on the farm for the last 10 years. There is lots of different styles of direct drills and strip tills, but it really works for us. It works on the majority of conditions and the majority of our land types and gives us good crops throughout the year. It means that we're not ploughing, which is saving us huge amounts on diesel and manpower, and we're not subsoiling. So that was the initial kind of drive for us to do that. Since then, we have noticed a huge impact of environmental benefits. Our worm count has gone up phenomenally. Our soil structure is improved beyond belief. I used to talk about my father would sow a field of wheat and he used to walk out and on the heavier land it used to rain and he said, oh, I'll have to go and re-sow that the next day. He said, now with the soil structure the way it is, we can go and sow it, and if it does rain, we're still getting a crop at the end of it. It seems kind of counterintuitive, but if we've had a really wet season, the ground seems to be able to be more free draining and it doesn't have such a large effect. Similarly, in a drier season, the crops seem to be able to find the moisture because the root structure is there, the soil structure is there, and it's making a massive impact on our farm. My mum and dad have been farming together, and in 2005 they decided that they should open a farm shop to try and sell more of our produce direct to consumers. So we started off just to sell our own beef. We had one freezer and that was all we sold. And we now sell all our fat cattle through the shop. I brought in sheep and we sell all our mutton and our lamb through the shop as well. Everything just to make sure we're selling everything we produce in its entirety and add value to it and make good food convenient for people. We now get people that are on the Pasture for Life website researching grass-fed beef and they find us as a place to buy it, so they come in and are interested in that. We've also got customers locally who didn't necessarily know about grass-fed beef, and now we've got the label on our beef and our lamb. They ask questions to our staff and we're able to explain it and really get them involved with the Pasture for Life journey. I think nature is important in everything, from the very basic level to customers coming into our shop. They stand outside the shop and they listen to the birds singing, and it's just a wonderful, relaxing place to be. We sometimes take it for granted. I go out to the cattle and there was 12 partridges running in front of my pickup this morning, and I take that for granted because I see it every day. But we need to be the ones that are nurturing that and allowing that to go forward. Anything we can do. I've got my own bees, and I think the role of pollinators is so key, and we put large amounts of cover crops that are pollinator friendly, and you walk through them and you can hear the bees buzzing around you, and if we can do anything to help that, I think it's fantastic, not just for us, but for the rest of the community as well. My dad always talked about the fact that we were trying to mix the traditional farming techniques with the technology of today, and I think that's really important. We knew all about soil biology, we knew how it all worked in the past, and we've kind of forgotten that. And in the meantime, all this fantastic, amazing technology has come in, and we need to take the advantages of all the progressive changes that have happened in farming, but also mix it with that fundamental knowledge of soil and of nature to come together and see if we can make something that works financially and environmentally. My dad unfortunately passed away 3 years ago, and the one thing he was most upset about was he thought that agriculture was on a brink of a revolution, and he could see people were starting to change the way they thought and were really interested in soil, and they were learning so much more about it. And he was really sad that he wasn't going to see that through. But I think that we as farmers have got a huge opportunity to move with that and to see where that takes us.